All right, so welcome to our third video on the basics of R Shiny. And so in the first video, we talked about how R Shiny works in terms of the user input in the server. And then in the second video, we talked about different types of widgets, which is a part of the user input. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about different types of information, different ways of displaying information. Okay, and that's more so it's going to be seen within the Shiny, but that uses the server, that uses the information from the user input. So the first thing I want to highlight is this thing called plot output. And what that does is the function to actually display the plot that's being created within our server, okay, here. And so when I run this, okay, I can see the plot here in this particular region, and that region is called the main panel. Okay, as you can see, we utilize the main panel functionality here. Okay, so if I were to highlight this out, comment it out, sorry, and reload it, you see that's no longer present. So what I can do is try to put different types of information in this particular region. So I'm going to leave that commented out and talk about displaying text. So if I want to display text, the function that we use is called verbatim text output. Okay, verbatim text output. And what I'm going to do is save whatever or display whatever is within range. Okay, whatever, I can name it whatever. Let's call it ranged. Let's call it text output 1. Okay, I can change the name. The name doesn't really matter. Okay. However, if I change it there, I need to change it within this little line of code here, which controls what's going to be displayed within this text output. So I need to change this where it says range here to become text output 1. So what exactly is happening? So whatever is being sent out of the user input is saved within slider 2, and then it's going to be saved within text output 1, and then it's going to be displayed within verbatim text output. However, this won't work because we don't, oh well, yes it will work. So because this is called slider 2, it's being saved within input, which is slider 2. Then it's being saved within text output 1, which is therefore going to be displayed here within verbatim text output. So let's go ahead and run that. So if I were to change my slide, you can see it works. But if I were to change it to 74 for the max and 216 for the min, you see it works just like that. Okay. So let's say if I wanted to view the plot and the text output at the same time, all I need is a comma here and uncomment this line. Okay, and then go ahead and run it. You'll see that I'll see both the graph and the text output at the same time. Okay, and I can change it because they're both being used within the server. Okay. Great. That's technically the third way of displaying information from the R Shiny. The fourth and final way is to use a data table. So a data table is just a fancier or better looking data frame. And so I'm not going to say and copy and paste within the from the PDF, but just note that if you do copy and paste in the PDF, it's going to not look so fancy. Since it's not going to look so fancy, I already spent some time and just placed it within an R file. So what you would now do is just highlight the entire code and just press run. Okay. And it creates my R Shiny. So let me make this wider. And so now you have access to the MTCars data frame. Okay. So this is a nice little time to highlight some cool things. Let's go ahead and open it up in the web browser. And the reason why I open it up in the web browser is because you can press Control- and zoom out. Control plus to zoom in. If you're using the Mac, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Command plus or Command minus. And this is our data table. So you say, what's so fancy about this? So this is what's cool. So you can change your miles per gallon by a certain region, and then it will only display values in between 16.3 and 27.4. Okay, and you can make it in order from smallest to largest. Let's go down, second page. Okay, or you can flip it and make it from largest to smallest. Okay, so now that we are kind of used to this to an extent, let's actually go back to our R file and kind of understand what's really occurring here. So instead of using that previous function plot output, we're using an output function called DT, okay, which DT stands for data table, okay? And then in terms of this functionality here, we are creating a data table using the MTCars data set. That's the first input. And we say filter on top. And what this filter does, it allows us to filter our variables within our function. So let's say I remove that functionality. Let me exit out of this. If I were to erase this and just comment this and run this code, I'm going to get our MTCars data set. Sorry, stopped our RShiny. Okay, but now as you can see, when I open this up in the Mozilla, you can't filter, but you can still sort. Okay, you can't filter, but you can still sort. That's a little nifty. So in terms of displaying information, there are currently, at least I displayed 4 different types of ways of displaying information. In the next video, I'll talk about another way, but that's not part of the basic RShiny, so it's a little bit more complicated. So again, you could like this video or subscribe, and again, I appreciate your time. Thank you.